Good morning, everyone. So today we will move on to the next core text in the first module, which is titled Somebody's Mother. This is in page 26 of the textbook. If you take up your text, you will find this poem in page 26. It is a poem written by Mary Dow Brine. Her photo is seen on the screen. She is the author of this poem. She is the poet. And this is the second core text in this first module. It is a very touching poem which continues with the theme of relationships, because the title of this module is Bonds of Love. So the theme of love and relationship is continued here. If you remember the first core text, we discussed the theme of love and relationship between a father and a son. Whereas here we are trying to extend the kind of relationship to outside the family also. So real love and relationship and feelings of compassion should actually go out of us into the society. So that is the theme which you will find in this poem. It is a very touching poem and it is very interesting, and it will surely change our understanding of how we approach people when we meet them outside. So this poet, there is a short write-up about this poet. Mary Dow Brine was an American poet, author, and lyricist. Lyricist is someone who writes lyrics. Okay? Someone who writes lyrics is called a lyricist. Lyrics are lines for poems or songs. We have lyricists for the movies. People who write songs for movies, they are also called lyricists. So she was a poet as well as a lyricist, and she has written a lot of poems, and the most popular is this poem. She has a number of poems to her credit, including Twilight on the Beach, Easter Lilies, and A Mother's Song. The most widely read and the most appreciated of her poems is Somebody's Mother. So let us see what this poem is about. What is the theme of this poem? Let us go through the lines of this poem. And before we actually go into those lines, we should also understand the patterns, because in the previous class, we talked about structure of a sentence. Okay, so in prose, so there are two categories of major categories of writing or literature. One is prose and the other is poem. Okay, prose and poem. Malayalamil nammal padyam ennum gadyam ennum parayum. This മുമ്പൊരിക്കൽ നമ്മൾ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തതാണ്. It is mostly about the structure of the language that decides whether a piece of writing is a prose or a poem. Prose ആണോ poem ആണോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പദ്യമാണോ ഗദ്യമാണോ എന്ന് നമ്മൾ തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത് അതിലെ ഭാഷാഘടനയും അതിൻ്റെ musicalityയും അനുസരിച്ചാണ്. Poem is more musical, it can be sung, whereas prose can be read. Okay, it cannot be sung. So that is a major difference that we may find between these two kinds of writing. And what causes these differences is the structure of the language. Because in the previous class also, even in different types of sentences, those are created by the different structures. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെ ഈ സ്ട്രക്ചറാണ് ഒരു പ്രോസ് ഇതിനെ പോയമാക്കി മാറ്റുന്നത്. കവിതയാക്കി മാറ്റുന്നതും ഈ സ്ട്രക്ചറാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ നമ്മളൊരു പ്രോസ് പാസേജിൽ നമ്മളൊരു സെൻറ്റൻസ് എന്ന് പറയും, വാചകം എന്ന് പറയും. പക്ഷെ കവിതയിൽ നമ്മൾ അങ്ങനെയല്ല പറയാം. കവിതയിൽ വരി എന്നാണ് പറയുക. ഓക്കെ, പ്രോസിൽ നമ്മൾ വി കോൾ എ സെൻറ്റൻസ്, ഒരു വാചകം. ബട്ട് in I will type it here. Prose we call it a sentence, but in poem we call it a line. This is the difference between the basic fraction in prose and poem. In prose we call it a sentence. The group of words are called sentences, but the group of words in a poem are called the lines. Again, there is another difference also. In prose, the group of sentences are called what? ഒരു സെറ്റ് ഓഫ് സെന്റൻസസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമ്മളതിനെ പ്രോസിൽ, ഗദ്യത്തിൽ നമ്മളതിനെ എന്താ വിളിക്കുക? ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓഫ് വേർഡ്സിനെ നമ്മൾ സെന്റൻസ് എന്ന് വിളിക്കും. ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓഫ് സെന്റൻസസ് ഇങ്ങനെ കാണില്ലേ നമ്മൾ? വെരി ഗുഡ്, ശ്രീലക്ഷ്മി. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് എ പാരഗ്രാഫ്. സോ ഇൻ എ പ്രോസ് യു കോൾ ഇറ്റ് എ പാരഗ്രാഫ്, ആൻഡ് ഇൻ പോയം വാട്ട് യു കോൾ ഇറ്റ്? പോയത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ അതിന് വേറെ പേരാണ്. കേട്ടില്ല, ജോഫി എന്തോ പറഞ്ഞു, കേട്ടില്ല. യെസ് ഷിമ, യെസ് അഫിനത്ത്. ഓക്കെ, so it is a stanza. Okay, so that is also a major difference. Prose നമ്മൾ പാരഗ്രാഫ് ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു, പോയത്തിൽ സ്റ്റാൻസ ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. So that is also how many sentences make a paragraph. Any number of sentences can make a paragraph. Similarly, in a poem also, any number of lines can make a stanza. ചില കവിതകൾ എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ 4 വരിയുള്ള stanzas. Some poems may have just 4 lines. Some poems may have 6 line stanzas. Here you see 2 line stanzas. In this poem, somebody's mother, ഈ 2 വരികളുള്ളതാണ്. So it keeps changing from poem to poem. Like as in prose, you have paragraphs of different number of sentences. ഒരു പാരഗ്രാഫ് ഇത്ര സെന്റൻസ് എന്നൊരു നിയമമൊന്നുമില്ല. ഒരു സെന്റൻസ് മാത്രമായിട്ടും പാരഗ്രാഫ് ഉണ്ടാവാറുണ്ട്. വളരെ ലോങ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സെന്റൻസ് ചിലപ്പോൾ ഒരു പാരഗ്രാഫായി മാറാറുണ്ട്. So there is no fixed rule that you should have so many number of sentences to create a paragraph or so many number of lines to create a stanza. So these are the major differences in terminologies, that the terms that we use for prose and poem. In poem, we call the group of words as lines and the groups of lines as stanzas, whereas in prose, we call the group of words as sentences and the group of sentences as paragraphs. And another major difference in structure is the kind of language that we use, that we will understand when we go through the poem actually. I think now we can go on to read the poem. Jitya, please read the poem. Jitya, the first few lines. Jitya Rajesh. Lakshmi Shivaraj. Lakshmi, are you there? What is happening, people? People are switching on their videos and going away. Sarga KS.
സാർ ലക്ഷ്മിക്ക് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
ശരി.
ഒന്നും കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല, മൈക്ക് ഓൺ ആക്കാനും പറ്റില്ല, ഒന്നും കേൾക്കണില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
ഓക്കെ. Sarga.
Yes, sir.
Please read.
The woman was old and aged and grey, and bent with the chill of the winter's day. The street was wet with a recent snow, and the woman's feet were aged and slow. She stood at the crossing and waited long, alone, uncared for, amid the throng of human beings who passed her by, unheeding the glance of her anxious eyes.
Thank you, Sarga. The woman was old and ragged and grey. So this is a physical description of the woman here. Okay, the woman was old and ragged and grey. All different physical descriptions. One is about her age, the other is about her dress, and the third is about her body. Okay, so everything is described here in these two lines. She is an old woman, so you get a picture of the old woman, even though you don't see that woman here. You understand that she is a very old woman who is wearing, so she also is a poor woman because she is wearing rags. Okay, rag. Rags, മുഷിഞ്ഞ കീറിയ വസ്ത്രങ്ങളാണ് rags എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So she is wearing ragged dress. And she is grey. Grey means the color of the grey, that is of old people. She is an old woman. So she has grey hair. She is wearing rags. And the poet describes that she is bent. Because of old age. And also because of the coldness, the chill of the winter's day. So there is a lot of difficulties that the lady is having while she is walking on the road. She is not only an old woman, she is weak, she is bent, and it is winter. And in winter, the people who have pain, the pain will increase. So this is a description of the woman on the street. And she is walking on the street. We understand that the street is wet because of snowfall. In European countries, instead of rain, you have snowfall because the temperatures go much below 0 degrees. And the snow is on the street. And it is possible that if you slip on the snow, you can fall down. So you have to be very careful while walking on snow. And what is the disadvantage of the woman? The woman is aged. And look at that poetic description. So this is another typical thing of the poet. And the woman's feet were aged and slow. So it means that the woman was aged. It's not just the feet that is aged, but the woman is aged. So this is a figure of speech used in poetry. അലങ്കാരികമായ പ്രയോഗം. കാലുകൾ വയസ്സായതാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ സ്ത്രീ തന്നെ വയസ്സായതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അവർ, so that is a kind of description that we use in poetry. The woman's feet were aged and slow. And if you look at all these lines, you will find that there is a rhyming pattern. Gray, day. Snow, slow. Long, throng, etc. So this is also another characteristic of poetry, that it makes it possible to sing a poem so that it sounds musical to the ears. So such patterns of using rhymes, okay, so such patterns of using rhymes are not found in prose. You don't find such usage of rhymes in prose. That is a feature only found in poetry, because we want to add musicality to the poem. And what is the old woman doing? That is described in the third stanza. The poet says that she stood at the crossing and waited long, alone, uncared for amid the throng. So this is also a different way of writing poetry. It's not usually done in prose. പ്രോസിലാണെങ്കിൽ ഇത് വേറൊരു രീതിയിലാണ് എഴുതുക. This is the line here. What I am going to do is, I'm going to change the structure of the sentence. So this is another structure that I am going to use. So she stood at the crossing and waited long. And she stood and waited long at the crossing. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു poetic ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചറാണ്. And the other is prose. Okay, so she stood at the crossing and waited long. She stood and waited long at the crossing. ആദ്യത്തേത് നമ്മൾ പോയത്ത് എന്നുള്ള വരിയാണ്. അതിനെ ഒന്ന് റീസ്ട്രക്ചർ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അത് പ്രോസായി മാറി. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പ്രോസിനെ ഒന്ന് റീസ്ട്രക്ചർ ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണ് അത് പോയട്രി ആയി മാറുന്നത്. So that is how poems are created. That is the craft of poetry, of the structure being altered, the structure of the language being altered, that creates poetry. So she stood at the crossing and waited. So she wants to cross the road. That is why she is standing at the crossing. And the poet describes her as alone, uncared for, amid the throng. Amid means in the middle of. This is the meaning of amid. And throng means crowd. So she feels as if she is alone in the crowd. ആൾക്കൂട്ടത്തിൽ തനിയെ എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്ന പോലെ. You might also have felt sometimes when there are a lot of people around you, still you feel alone. When do you feel like that? When do you feel that you are alone, even if so many people are around you, your friends are around you, people are around you, classmates are here, but still you feel alone? When do you feel like that? ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അങ്ങനെയൊന്നും തോന്നിയിട്ടില്ല. അങ്ങനെയാണോ? Is there a time when you feel that you are alone, even when you are in the midst of your friends, in the middle of a lot of people, or your relatives are there, so many people are there around you, still sometimes you may feel alone? When do you feel like that? Yes, we feel that, but when is it? Okay, Sri Lakshmi, thank you for that response. But when do you feel that? The clue is there in this line itself that I have highlighted. So look at that highlighted word. It tells you when you feel alone, even when you are in a group of people. Yes, Jyoti, when people don't care for us, when they ignore us, that is the word that is there, uncared for. So when people don't care for us, when people ignore us, okay, ignore ഒഴിവാക്കുക നമ്മളെ നമ്മളവിടെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും നമ്മളെ പരിഗണിക്കാതിരിക്കും. So even when they are with us, they don't attend to us, they don't care for us, then we feel alone even when we are in a crowd. So this is the kind of feeling that the woman feels. She is in a street which is full of people, but nobody is giving any attention to the old woman. That is why she is feeling lonely or alone. Alone, uncared for. See, this line gives it very clear idea of why she is in the middle of the crowd. Crowd of what? Crowd of human beings. So in the middle of the crowd of human beings, so it is actually a continuation of that same line. Throng of human beings. Throng of what? Crowd of what? Crowd of human beings. Of these human beings, she is a part of them in the street, yet she feels alone because she is not cared by anybody. The same meaning is there in this line, in this word also. Unheeding, uncaring. Unheeding means uncaring. The people who are passing by on the street, they do not care for the old woman. They do not care for her. They do not give any attention to her. So that is why she is sad. The woman is sad. She feels alone. Unheeding means they are not caring. The glance of her anxious eyes. So she has got anxiety. So when you have a road to cross, you easily cross the road. You can easily cross the road because you are young, you are strong. But the old woman, she has difficulty crossing the road and she is waiting. She is anxious. Why is she anxious? Why is she anxious? When crossing the road, why is she anxious? പേടിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യം എന്താണ്? Yes, Jyoti, she is an old lady. Yes, Shima, thank you. Because she is old, she might get hit by some vehicles. She may fall down. An accident may happen because it is a public road, public street. If she does not, she is not able to. Yes, she is poor in sight. Yes, Jyoti, that is right. She is an old woman. So she is anxious whether I will be able to safely cross the road. Safe to cross the which we may not have because you are. Yes, and she has to walk slowly. Because she is old. Yes, because she is old and poor inside. So this is the reason. These are the reasons. All of you are right. Because she is an old woman, because she has poor eyesight, because she cannot walk fast. She has this anxiety. She is anxious whether I will be able to cross the road properly. So that is the reason for her anxiety. And nobody is giving any attention to her. Nobody is caring for her. People are busy in their own world. And they are not giving any attention to this old woman. So at that time, another group is coming here. So that is described here. So once the old woman is described, then the people who are passing by without caring is described. Now another group is being described here by the poet. Let us see who are being described here. Anaga, please read.
Sir,
Yes.
down the street with laughter and shout, glad in the freedom of school. Let out came the boys like a flock of sheep, aligned the snow, belied with and teeth. Past the woman, so old and grey, hastened the child on their way.
Okay, thank you, Anaga. Down the street with laughter and shout, glad in the freedom of school let out, came the boys like a flock of sheep. ഇതൊരു നല്ല പോയറ്റിക് കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷനാണ്. ഇതിനെ നമ്മൾ പ്രോസായിട്ട് കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ വാട്ട് ഡസ് ഇറ്റ് ആക്ച്വലി മീൻ? ദ ബോയ്സ് കെയിം എന്നാണ്. കെയിം ദ ബോയ്സ് ലൈക്ക് എ ഫ്ലോക്ക് ഓഫ് ഷീപ്പ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ actually the sentence, if you write in prose, is down the street എന്നുള്ളത് ഇടയിൽ വരും. So the boys came down the street like a flock of sheep എന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ prose ആയിട്ട് എഴുതുകയാണെങ്കിൽ. But because it is poetry, the structure is changed. That gives it a musicality. Came the boys like a flock of sheep. ആ ഡൗൺ ദ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് അതിന് മുമ്പത്തെ സ്റ്റാൻസിലാണ് നടക്കുന്നത്. ഡൗൺ ദ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് വിത്ത് ലാഫ്റ്റർ ആൻഡ് ഷൗട്ട്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്കൊരു ക്യൂരിയോസിറ്റിയാണ്, ആരാ വരുന്നതെന്നുള്ളത് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുന്നില്ല. ഡൗൺ ദ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് വിത്ത് ലാഫ്റ്റർ ആൻഡ് ഷൗട്ട്, ഗ്ലാഡ് ഇൻ ദ ഫ്രീഡം ഓഫ് സ്കൂൾ ലെറ്റ് ഔട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് കെയിം ദ ബോയ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. പിന്നെയാണ് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുന്നത് സ്കൂൾ കുട്ടികളാണെന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പൊ തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ആ ഒരു അറിയാനുള്ളൊരു ആഗ്രഹം ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലാണ് പോയട്രിയുടെ സ്ട്രക്ചർ. ഡൗൺ ദ സ്ട്രീറ്റ് വിത്ത് ലാഫ്റ്റർ ആൻഡ് ഷൗട്ട് മീൻസ് ദ ബോയ്സ് കെയിം down the street with laughter and shout. Glad. Why are the boys glad? Why are they happy? Why are the boys happy? Why are the children happy? വണ്ടർഫുൾ ഷിമ. ജസ്റ്റ് ബിക്കോസ് ദ സ്കൂൾ ഇസ് ലെറ്റ് ഔട്ട്. സ്കൂൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ് അവർ തിരിച്ചു വരികയാണ്. നമുക്ക് സ്കൂളിലേക്ക് പോകുമ്പോഴല്ല, തിരിച്ചു വരുമ്പോഴാണ് സന്തോഷം. ക്ലാസ് തുടങ്ങുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ, ക്ലാസ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴല്ല, ക്ലാസ് ഇല്ല എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴാണ് സന്തോഷം. So the boys are happy because they are coming back from school. They are not going to school. So they are coming back from school. So they are enjoying because they are going back home after school. That is why they are glad. They are happy. They are playing. സ്കൂളിലേക്ക് പോകുമ്പോൾ എത്ര സന്തോഷം ഉണ്ടാവില്ല, തിരിച്ചു വരുമ്പോഴാണ് സന്തോഷം. So because the school is let out, the school is over for the day, they are coming back and they are happy. And how are they coming? They don't come silently. They come with a lot of laughter and shout. They are very noisy. Little children, they are very noisy. They will create a lot of noise, shout, okay, laugh. But as we grow up, we become more and more silent. So now there are so many people here. Nobody is speaking anything. Why? Because you are all grown up. You prefer to remain silent rather than say something. Suppose if this were a class of small children, it will be very difficult to keep them quiet. Because it is in their nature to be noisy. This is the nature of children, to be noisy, to shout, to laugh, etc. But somehow, because the parents and teachers continuously ask them to keep quiet from the very small age, they become quiet as they grow up. So here these children are very noisy, they are shouting, they are laughing, they are enjoying. And what are they doing? What are they doing? They are hailing. Hail means to throw. Hail means to. So they are throwing the snow that is scattered on the street. When there is a snowfall, all the snow will be scattered and piled up on the street. Piling up, അട്ടിയായിട്ട് കിടക്കുക. And the snow is taken up by the children, then they throw it at each other and play. So they throw the snow at each other and they are enjoying as they are walking to their homes. And when they pass the woman, when they pass the old woman, how do they pass? They hastened, എന്നാണ് poet describing. Haste. തിരക്ക് കൂട്ടി പോവുക. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഓൾഡ് വുമൻ്റെ അടുത്തെത്തുമ്പോൾ അവിടെ വളരെ വേഗത്തിൽ നടന്നു പോകും കുട്ടികൾ. ബിക്കോസ് they are not interested in the old woman. They don't like the other passers-by on the street who went away without caring for the old woman. These children also, when they reach the old woman, they start hastening. വളരെ കുറച്ച് സ്പീഡ് കൂട്ടിയതുപോലെ പോയിട്ടെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. So the old woman walks fast. I mean, the children walk fast when they reach the old woman. So the children, most of them are also like the people on the street. They do not care for the old woman. Now let us look at the next few lines. Nandana to you. Nandana to you, yes. Yes, they don't like old woman, that's right, Jofi. So that is the reason they walk past the old woman without giving any care to them. Okay. That is Nandana to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please read.
Pass to the tele.
Next line, next answer.
None offered a helping hand to hear, so me so him afraid to steer. Let the carriage wheels or the horse felt should prod her down in the slippery street. At last came one of the merry dropped the gayest lady of all the group. He paused beside her and whispered low, I will help you cross if you wish to go. Her aged hand on his strong young arm she placed and so without cut off her. He guided the trembling felt along, proud that his own were firm and strong.
Thank you, Nandana. That's enough. So the old woman is, yes.
Sir?
So the old woman, nobody gives her a helping hand. None means Arula. None offered a helping hand to her. Who offered a helping hand? No one. None offered a helping hand. And why are they not helping her? Is it because she is something to be afraid of? So the poet says she is a meek. Meek is the opposite of ferocious. Very soft lady. പേടിക്കേണ്ട ഒരു കാര്യമില്ല, പക്ഷെ അവർക്കൊക്കെ പേടിയാണ്. So they are all afraid of the woman. Why are they? Why should they be afraid of the woman? They are not afraid. They don't want to help the woman. So that is what the poet says. She is a meek, gentle. Timid means without having any courage. That is the meaning of timid, without having any courage. Afraid to stir. Stir means to move. Stir means to move. She is afraid to move. As I said earlier, she is feeling anxious. If I move from here, if I try to cross, will I meet with an accident? That is why she is afraid. She is afraid to move. So the reason is described here. Lest the carriage wheels or the horse's feet should crowd her down in the slippery street. Lest indicates possibility. Sadhyata. Enganum valla vandi idichalo. There are horse carriages there. She can be stamped by the horse also. കുതിരയുടെ ചവിട്ട് കിട്ടാം, വണ്ടിയുടെ വീലിൻ്റെ ഇടയിൽ പെടാം, അപകടങ്ങൾ പല രീതിയിൽ സംഭവിക്കും. So these are the fears that she has got. These are the reasons for her anxiety. This is why the old woman is anxious. Why is she anxious? Lest the carriage wheels. See? That is why she is anxious. Why is she afraid? Lest the carriage wheels or the horse's feet should crowd her down. Crowd her down means trample her down. Trample her down in the street. എന്നെ ചവിട്ടി അരച്ചങ്ങ് പോയാലോ. So lest these carriage wheels or the feet of the horses should trample her down in this slippery street, because the street is very slippery, and because she is an old woman, she can easily slip and fall, and then she can meet with an accident. So that is why she is not moving. She is standing in the crossing without moving. So the people are not helping. The group of children that are passing are not helping. But from one among the merry troop, who is the merry troop here? ഇവിടെയുള്ള മെറി ട്രൂപ്പ് എന്നാണ്. മെറി മീൻസ് ഹാപ്പി, ട്രൂപ്പ് മീൻസ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ്. ഇവിടെയുള്ള ഹാപ്പി ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ആരാണ്? സ്ട്രീറ്റിലുള്ള ഹാപ്പി ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ആരാണ്? Who is the happy group? Who are the group of happy people on the street now? The poet has just described a group of happy people here. Who are the group of happy people? കഴിഞ്ഞ സ്റ്റാൻസിലൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ, ഹാപ്പി ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ഗ്രൂപ്പ്. They are enjoying on the street. ആരാണത്? The boys. Yes, Sri Lakshmi, thank you. The boys, the school boys who are returning from school. Yes, Jofi, school children. They are coming back from school. Those people, they are the merry troop. They are the happy group. And from among the happy group, there is a most happy, gayest. Gay means happy. Gayest means happiest. Laddie means not, it is not lady, it is laddie. Means lad, a child, a boy, etc. Okay. So that's the meaning of, that's the meaning of laddie. Laddie means lad, a boy or a child. So that's the meaning of laddie. So the gayest laddie, happiest boy. All the boys are happy, but among the boys, there is one boy who is so happy. That boy came forward. So the other boys did not care, but this boy came forward. He stopped beside her and told her, I'll help you cross. And he helped her cross. How did he help her cross? He put her hand on his strong hand, and without any hurt or harm, he took her across the road. So that is how he held her arm, protecting her so that she does not fall down. And by holding her hand, he guided the trembling feet. Whose feet are trembling? The old woman's feet is trembling. വിറയ്ക്കുന്ന കാലുകളാണ് അവർക്ക്, പ്രായമായതുകൊണ്ടും തണുപ്പ് കൊണ്ടും. But he is a very strong boy because he is young. He has firm and strong hands as well as legs. So he is able to take the old lady across the street. So he takes this old lady across the street. And the next lines, they are very interesting because the boy doesn't just go back to his friends and enjoy. He tells his friends something. He goes back to his friends and he does not just go back and enjoy. He gives them some advice or something like that. He tells them something which actually is a kind of advice which is far beyond the age of that small boy. So let us see what he tells them. Aditya, please read that. Highlighted.
Then back again to his friends he went, his young heart happy and well content. She's somebody's mother, you know, for all she's aged and poor and slow, and I hope some fellow will lend a hand to help my mother, you understand. If ever she's poor and old and grey, when her own dear boy is far away.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. He then back again to his friends he went. This poetic construction, if you become familiar, you can understand any poem. ഈ poetic construction നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്കതിൻ്റെ ഏത് പോയത്തിൻ്റെയും മീനിങ് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് പറ്റും. There is a change in the word structure. Syntax, നമ്മൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ പറഞ്ഞു, സിൻടാക്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വേർഡ് ഓർഡർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ വേർഡ് ഓർഡറിൽ വരുന്ന മാറ്റം വരുമ്പോഴാണ് ഈ പ്രോസ് പോയമായി മാറുന്നത്. Then back again to his friends he went എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? It means this. Then he went back again to his friends എന്നാണ് അർത്ഥം. അപ്പോൾ ആ വേർഡ്സിൻ്റെ ആ അറേഞ്ച്മെൻ്റ് ഓർഡർ മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ ഒരു പ്രോസിലെ സെൻറ്റൻസ് ഒരു പോയമിലെ ലൈനായി മാറും, ഒരു വാചകം ഒരു വരിയായി മാറും. Then back again to his friends he went, his young heart happy and well content. തൃപ്തി ആണ് കണ്ടന്റ്, സംതൃപ്തി. Why is he feeling contentment? ഇപ്പോൾ കണ്ടന്റ്മെന്റ് തോന്നേണ്ട ആവശ്യം എന്താണ്? സംതൃപ്തി തോന്നേണ്ട ആവശ്യം എന്താണ്? Why is this boy feeling content and happy? Yes, Shima, that is right, because he helped someone. Only when you help somebody, you understand what is that feeling you get. നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കും നമ്മളൊരാളെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഹെൽപ്പ് കിട്ടിയ ആൾക്കല്ലേ ഗുണം എന്ന്. അങ്ങനെയല്ല. ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്ന സന്തോഷം ഹെൽപ്പ് കിട്ടുന്ന ആൾക്ക് കിട്ടുന്ന സന്തോഷത്തിനേക്കാളും വലുതായിരിക്കും. അതറിയണമെങ്കിൽ അത് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തു നോക്കണം. So when we do a good deed, it actually fills us with so much happiness that you will not get, yes, satisfaction. That's right, Joshi. When you help somebody, you get a kind of satisfaction that you never get by doing anything else. So that is something very peculiar to doing good deeds. That is why you find that people who do good deeds continue to do those good deeds. നമ്മൾ ചുറ്റുമുള്ളവരെ ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നല്ല പ്രവൃത്തികൾ ചെയ്യുന്നവർ തുടർച്ചയായിട്ട് അത് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. കാരണം അവർക്കത് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ കിട്ടുന്ന സന്തോഷം അവർക്ക് അറിയുന്നുണ്ട്. ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്ക് അറിയുള്ളൂ, ചെയ്യാത്തവർക്ക് അറിയില്ല. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുന്നവർ സ്ഥിരമായിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. കാരണം the kind of happiness that they get from there, they do not get from anywhere else. The kind of satisfaction, yes, feeling happy. So that kind of satisfaction they don't get from anywhere else. So they feel that happiness. So that is what the boy feels. And he does not just feel that happiness, he tells his friends also. Look here, she is somebody's mother. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും നമ്മുടെ ഫാമിലിയിലുള്ളവരോടാണ് നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ ഒരു. But this boy says, like, you have a mother at home, she is also somebody's mother. ഏതോ ഒരു കുട്ടിയുടെ അമ്മയാണ് അതും. You should understand that. She may be aged, for all she is aged എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ, what is the meaning is? The meaning is, she may be aged. എന്നാണ്. All she is aged and poor and slow എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ, she may be aged, poor and slow എന്നാണ് അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം. She may be aged, വയസ്സായിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, പാവപ്പെട്ടവരായിരിക്കും, നടക്കാൻ സ്പീഡില്ലാത്തവരായിരിക്കും. പക്ഷേ എന്നാലും she is somebody's mother. Boys, he is addressing the boys, he is talking to the boys. So why did I do this? He is giving an explanation. This boy is giving an explanation. Why did I help this woman? Because if I do a good deed, it will come back to me. നമ്മളൊരു നല്ല പ്രവൃത്തി ചെയ്താൽ അത് നമ്മുടെ അടുത്തേക്ക് തന്നെ തിരിച്ചു വരും. And that's what the boy says. The hippo tells the friends that some fellow will lend a hand, give a hand. Some fellow means some other boy may help my mother. You understand? You understand? He is asking the boys. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലായോ എന്ന് അവരോട് ചോദിക്കാം. You understand why I helped? It is because somebody will help my mother if ever she is old and grey. So your mother may be very young now. Most of your mothers may be very young and smart and very fast. But remember, one day they will also become old. So that is what this boy is also telling. If ever she is poor and old and grey, somebody will be there to help my mother also. Like I helped this somebody's mother. ആരുടെയോ അമ്മയാണ് അവരെ ഞാൻ എങ്ങനെയാണോ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്തത്, അതുപോലെ there will be somebody who will come and help my mother if she becomes old someday. Surely she will. Someday she will also become old. At that time, there will be somebody else, because when her own dear boy is far away. Who is this her own dear boy? ആരെ കുറിച്ചാണ് പറയുന്നത്? When her own dear boy is far away എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Last line. There will be somebody to help her when her own. Who is this her own dear boy? Wonderful, Shima. It's the boy who helped the old lady. The boy who is talking to the other boys. He himself, the speaker boy himself, he is telling, when her dear boy, see, you may not be always with your parents. Now you are with your parents, but after you get a job, you may have to go somewhere else. Who has to look after your parents? Somebody else has to look after your parents. They may need something. Somebody else will help her. If somebody else have to help her, you also have to help somebody else. Isn't it? So that is what this boy says. So now I helped this old woman. My mother may become old and I may not be there to help her. I may be working somewhere else, but somebody will help her because I have done such a good deed. So good deeds are like deposits that you put in the bank account. They will they will grow and they will come back to you. So that is what this boy is advising the other boys. See, you should not do like this. You should actually help when somebody you see on the street needs help. And only then these good deeds will come back to you in some other form. So നമ്മളൊരാൾക്കൊരു നല്ലത് ചെയ്താൽ അയാൾ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ച് നല്ലത് ചെയ്യണമെന്നില്ല. അത് വേറെ എവിടുന്നെങ്കിലും വരും. എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ആയിരിക്കും പിന്നീട് വരുന്നത്. So that is what this boy is telling, that my mother is now young, your mothers are also young, but they will become old someday and they will need help. And at that time, we may not be there to help. If somebody has to help, we should do such good deeds when we get opportunities. So that is what this boy advises the friends. And the old woman, she also does not forget this boy. She remembers this boy who helped her cross the street. That is the last stanza. Tirtha, please read that.
And somebody's mother bowed low her head in her home that night, and the prayer she said was, God be kind to be noble boy who is somebody's son and pride and joy.
Thank you, Tirtha. So this mother, the old woman who was helped by this boy, does not forget the boy who helped her cross the road. ഓ അതൊരു ചെറിയ സഹായം. നമ്മൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ പലരും നമ്മളെ സഹായിച്ചത് മറന്നു പോകും. But we have to remember people who helped us and we have to thank them, we have to pray for them. So this is what the old woman also does. She bowed low her head in her home that night when she prays. When she prays to God that night, she prays for this boy who helped for her. And what does she call this boy? He is not an ordinary boy like the other boys. She says he is a noble boy. Noble means somebody who has good qualities. Noble. Nobility. ഉദാത്തമായ ഗുണങ്ങളുള്ള സദ്ഗുണങ്ങളുള്ള ആളാണ് noble. So this boy is a noble boy. And he is somebody's son. Like the boy said that this is somebody's mother. This old woman is saying that that boy is somebody's son. എനിക്ക് മക്കളുള്ള പോലെ ആ കുട്ടി ഏതോ മാതാപിതാക്കളുടെ മകനാണ്. So he is somebody's son and pride and joy. Who is somebody's son, pride and joy? The boy who helped me cross the road. He is somebody's son, not only the parents' son. The parents are proud of and joyful of having such a son. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള മക്കളുണ്ടാവുമ്പോൾ parents will be happy that this boy is a helpful boy who is helping others. So that is what this old woman is praying before she is going to sleep. So the message of the poem is that we have to take our love and compassion. It has to begin from home, but from home we have to take it outside also. We have to include everyone in the society, especially in these times of difficulties. We have to actually care for others also, not just think about ourselves. We have to think of the people who are working hard to keep us healthy. We have to pray for them. Do whatever we can to help them. So this is the message of the poem, that love and relationship is not restricted to the family. So in the first core text, in the story, it was a relationship of father and son. It is within the family, inside the family. Whereas in this second core text in this module, that feeling of love and relationship is getting extended outside. An old woman you meet on the street, she may not have any similarity with your mother because your mother may be very young. But if you are able to see your mother even in that old woman, if you are able to think that she is also somebody's mother, that shows nobility in our character. It not only shows nobility in our character, it actually enhances our personality. So this is a kind of understanding. We have always talked about right understanding. And what is this boy doing? He is not just helping, he is also trying to transfer his understanding to the other boys so that they also get the same kind of happiness when they help others. So this is what we also have to try to do. We have to develop this right understanding and right feeling. And we have to try to transfer this right feeling and right understanding by not by talking but by our action. അപ്പോഴേ അത് ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ആവുള്ളൂ. നമ്മൾ കുറേ സംസാരിച്ചത് കൊണ്ട് ഒരു റൈറ്റ് അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡിങ് നമുക്ക് മറ്റൊരാളിൽ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓൺലി ബൈ ട്രാൻസ്ഫറിങ് ത്രൂ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ്. So that is something that the boy has done. He helped and then came and talked. So they are able to relate because he has just helped and they are all a witness to that help. So this is the message of the poem, that we have to extend the love and understanding that we have in the family to outside also. There is a beautiful recitation of the poem which you can find in the link that I have posted in the chat box. If you follow that link, you will be able to watch an recitation of the poem with nice animations. Not animation, it's actually pictures, paintings. So you can watch it. It's very interesting. So that is it. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon. We'll continue in the next class. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
സർ
Yeah.
സർ ഗൂഗിൾ ക്ലാസ് റൂമിൽ ഫസ്റ്റ് സെമ്മിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ ആൻസർ കീയും പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? അതിൽ കുറച്ച് പോലെ കണ്ടുള്ളൂ.
ഏതാണ് മിസ്സിങ്?
അതിൽ ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് സാർ.